can be better, we need to be better, we should be better. And then what you do is you point the finger back at yourself as a coach and the coaching staff. That, really as you analyze it, you look at 3 areas, and it starts with scheme. Number 2 would be execution, and number 3 is personnel. And so you kind of look at all 3 of those phases, and I think as a coach it's appropriate that you do so in that order. A fan has a tendency to a lot of times look at number 3 and look at personnel and kind of go backwards in that. But in any event, oftentimes it's not one or the other. It's kind of a combination, or 2 or 3, or some of those things. So all those things are being evaluated, because when we say that to the players, it's not as if we point fingers at them and say, it's on you. It's on all of us. But the reality is that we got to get better, and we got to be better this Saturday.
As a defensive expert this week, why is it that games like this seem to come down to defensive line play so much? I mean, we had a Nick Bosa walk-off sack, Sam Hubbard's tackle of 2 Penn State guys, a blocked field goal going the other way. All defensive line plays that have determined games in this series. Why is it that, I know it's always true that the game is won in the trenches, but why does it seem so much more so when it's Penn State?
I think what you're highlighting as much as anything else is just impact players. And people talk about, in these type of games and these type of atmospheres, those individuals for either side, have to step up. Your best players have to play their best. If they don't, it's very difficult having any success against, such a, you're talking about a top 10 opponent, perennial on a year-to-year basis, and certainly they are. And so I think that's what it stems from, and hopefully we can get some. Production from a number of layers of our defense, but certainly, like you're saying, it all starts up front.
Hey, Alex, how long does it take to know when a recruiting class hits?
Oh, I think it's difficult to determine. I think every guy's development is different, and I think it's appropriate that you allow their development to be individualized. It's kind of like as you assess. Maybe going back to where are you as a defense? Okay, where are you as a class? I think you have to be able to maybe look through some of maybe the individual mistakes on a given day and say, well, this guy's developing in the weight room. He's developing from a speech standpoint. And another individual that you're awfully excited about right now just simply might have a little bit cleaner mental aptitude at this point. But from a physical and athletic standpoint, there's an individual in our program that may not be getting as much work as that individual, just simply because the learning curve has been such. And so, with that, I think it's tough to decipher, and then sometimes it stems too from the depth that you have on your football team.
But you can tell, I'm assuming, that even if they don't play right away, or
sure,
that you can tell that this class that we brought in is going to change this program. And I don't know, does it take 4 years for you to determine that, or can you feel when these guys step in, even if they've got work to do or things to improve on, or
sure,
size, strength, all the things that people need to do?
Yeah.
You can just, I don't know, I feel like
I think to a point. And I think you're accurate. To a point. And why I say that is simply because, if they're not where you want them 2 years from now, doesn't mean they won't be there 4 years from now. And to put that all on 25 guys is very difficult to do. I will say this, that as you look through the current class, so the 2018 guys that are freshmen, awfully excited about the athleticism in that group. And so, guys that we think have a major impact. In the majority of cases, more future than present, but not for the lack of ability.
The 2017 class was the best class in the history of recruiting from a number standpoint.
Okay.
And I just didn't know if 2 years removed, kind of the same way the 2013 class helped this team or won a national championship for this program, if you can start to sense that there's a few guys in there that are already starting and having major roles, if that's a class you can feel is going to do something here.
Yeah, and I certainly hope so. But I think it's difficult to circle just those individuals. There's certainly some talented groups in that, or talented individuals in that group.
The safety play, you guys have in the early games given up 3 or 4 really, really long runs, and I don't want to lay everything on their feet or whatever, but are those the plays that guys who have played 20 or 30 games would probably be more apt to recognize, trigger, whatever it is that was missing than guys who are only in their first or second game? I don't know. What's your thought, and do you see that those plays are going to be nipped in the bud going forward, I guess? What have you guys done to kind of...
Well, to your last point, they need to. I mean, you can't be a successful defense over the course of a season, giving up explosive plays, certainly at the distance that some of those happened in the first couple weeks. The thing that you got to do is again, defensively, you got to look at scheme, you got to look at execution, you got to look at personnel. And as you look at it now, when a ball hits, in the interior of your defensive line at the rate of speed in which it happened, believe me, there's more issues than one individual on the back end. Now, that individual, like anybody, has his role, has to find a way to get that ball carried to the ground. But from a gap integrity standpoint, there's a couple reps of just a very poor job on our part. And again, you turn the finger right back to us as coaches in terms of our inability to get those things executed. If the answer was to have a safety in the middle of the field, 15 yards deep, make the play in the A gap, then we just line them up in the A gap, right? But in any event, they call you safety for a reason. So as best you can, you got to find a way to get that individual to the ground. But no, those things can't happen. And so we got to do a better job as coaches to ensure that we're not putting those guys on the back end in those situations.
Do you see Pryor and Wint, are they kind of interchangeable right now? Or, I mean, I know Pryor is out there for the first play, but just it seems like just what's your thought about the rotation that you're getting there right now?
Yeah, and I think as you break it down, Pryor's getting a little bit more reps than Josh. And again, what it stems from is guys that we can trust, guys can be in the position to make the play. The thing probably on not just the safety position, probably as a secondary as a whole, probably our disappointment through 4 games is our the finishing aspect, both at corner and safety, being in a position to make a play and not make it. Not that you're going to win every battle at any position, whether up front or on the back end. They got good players too, but on the same note, we're not at this point not winning our share, and what that number is. Obviously we want to win them all. So we got to do a better job of not just being in the right place at the right time. We got to find a way to be playmakers defensively. So when you talk about rotation in any spot, that's really what it stems from. Until a guy establishes himself as a playmaker for this defense, and it's appropriate for us to kind of keep an open mind and kind of shuffle the deck at times.